Difference between transitive and intransitive verbs. Hello and welcome to our channel, Grammar with Altaf. In today's video, we are going to learn about the difference between transitive and intransitive verbs. This is a very important part of English grammar and helps in building correct sentences.
Hi everyone, I'm Altaf. Thanks for joining us today. Yes, Annie is right. We are going to make this topic easy for you. By the end of this video, you will clearly understand what transitive and intransitive verbs are, how to identify them, and how to use them properly in your daily English speaking and writing.
Let's begin with the basic definition. A transitive verb is a verb that needs an object to complete its meaning. Without an object, the sentence would not make full sense. For example, if I say, she bought, the listener will wonder, she bought what? That means the verb bought needs an object. So when I say, she bought a book, now the sentence is complete because a book is the object of the verb.
That's right. So remember, transitive verbs always transfer the action to an object. Think of the word transitive as coming from transfer. The action is being transferred from the subject to the object. Let me give you another example. He reads. Now this sounds incomplete. What does he read? But when I say he reads a newspaper, the sentence is complete. The word newspaper is the object, and reads is the transitive verb.
Now, let's talk about intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs do not take an object. The action does not pass on to an object. For example, if I say, he sleeps, this is a complete sentence. It doesn't need anything else to complete it. The verb sleeps is intransitive.
Exactly. Intransitive verbs show an action that stays with the subject. There's no object receiving the action. Here's another example. They arrived late. The verb arrived doesn't need an object. You don't say they arrived something. So arrived is an intransitive verb.
Let's make this even easier with a quick test. I'll say a sentence, and you try to guess whether the verb is transitive or intransitive. Here's the first one. I ate an apple. What do you think?
That's a transitive verb because ate is followed by an object, an apple. The action of eating is transferred to the apple. Now try this one. She runs every morning.
That would be intransitive because runs doesn't have a direct object. The phrase every morning tells us when she runs, but it's not receiving the action of the verb.
Perfect answer. Now here's another useful tip. Some verbs can be both transitive and intransitive, depending on how they're used in a sentence. For example, take the verb opens. If I say, the door opens easily, the verb is intransitive because there's no object. But if I say he opens the door, then door becomes the object and the verb opens is transitive.
That's a great point. Let's take another example. The verb reads can be both. If I say she reads before bed, that's intransitive. No object is mentioned. But if I say she reads a novel, now a novel is the object, and reads is transitive.
Yes, many English verbs work this way. It's all about how the verb is used in the sentence. So if you ever feel confused, just try to find the object. Ask yourself, what or whom after the verb. If you get an answer, the verb is transitive. If not, it's intransitive.
Let's practice with a few more sentences. Here's one. He laughed loudly. Is that transitive or intransitive?
That's intransitive. Laughed does not need an object. The word loudly describes how he laughed, but it's not an object.
Good. Now what about she sent a message?
That's transitive. A message is the object. The verb sent transfers action to the message.
Well done. So, to sum up, transitive verbs need an object, and intransitive verbs do not. Always check if the verb is transferring its action to something. That's your object.
And don't forget, some verbs can be used in both ways, depending on the sentence. With practice, you'll start to notice the difference more easily and use them correctly in your speaking and writing.
All right, let's quickly review what we've learned in this video. We talked about the difference between transitive and intransitive verbs. We learned that transitive verbs take an object, like in she plays the piano, while intransitive verbs don't need an object, like in she sleeps peacefully.
We also learned how to identify them by asking what or whom after the verb. If you get a clear answer, it's a transitive verb. If not, it's intransitive. And remember, some verbs can be both, so always check the structure of the sentence.
That's all for today's lesson. We hope you now understand the difference between transitive and intransitive verbs clearly and simply.
If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel Grammar with Altaf for more easy grammar lessons.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Take care and keep learning.